Shabri is a very personal film. Personal not only for the writer-director, but for all the actors, technicians involved in it.
शादी नहीं बनाई अब तक, दुनियादारी में सब कुछ रह गया.
Ram Gopal Verma is still the producer of my film.
पहले सपने देखे, बाद में भूख.
Actually, A Dog's Friday is the name of the novel, and the sentiment is I feel like a dog. Shabri is about a woman who says enough is enough. You know, I need to just draw a line, live my life my way.
ऐसी औरत कुछ नहीं कर सकती.
I can only think of one performance down the years ever since we've started making films, and that is Nargis ji in Mother India.
शबरी क्या चीज?
I feel like a dog who will have his Friday. Well, that's the name of the novel that Lalit Marathe has written, and primarily it's about his first film as a director, Shabri, which is releasing now finally on 26th August. It took almost 5 years to see the light of a cinema hall. We'll talk about that and a lot more with Lalit Marathe. Pleasure having you on Bollywood Hungama first of all.
Thank
it
you
was
very
supposed to, it was complete, your film was complete in 2006.
Sure.
It's releasing in 2011.
Yeah.
First question is, do you think there will be a dated look in the film in any way whatsoever?
No way in the world. Because the DI process was completed a couple of weeks back.
Right.
And in fact, it's a blessing in disguise that we could use the technology for the film, for the sake of the film. So it's got a very international kind of a look, and it's working for the film. We've pushed the limits completely.
पहले सपने देखे, बाद में भूख. सोचा मेरा भी टाइम आएगा. आगे टाइम देखने की ताकत नहीं बची.
Fantastic. You mean to say that your film was complete by 2006, but you have redone a lot of stuff to release it now?
We haven't redone. The film was stuck in the mixing stage and the DI stage. The DI hadn't begun. So when we picked up the reins, we started the DI now. The technology has moved on. We've enriched with our experiences. We've seen films. We have references. So we want to go beyond that. When the film was shot, there was a particular look in mind. But now that we've seen so many films, we know that so many things are possible. Decided to push the limits, and you can see the limits being pushed here.
A lot has happened between, I think, your producer was Ram Gopal Verma. We spoke to Ram Gopal Verma recently, and I asked him that what are his forthcoming projects. He said Department and the sequel to Bhoot. He did not mention Shabri. What exactly happened? I believe you started a campaign on Facebook in 2009 as well to just get your film released.
Ram Gopal Verma is still the producer of my film.
That's what the credits say, yeah.
Yeah.
AdLab was supposed to be affiliated earlier, now Reliance is present.
To tell you frankly, had it not been for Ram Gopal Verma, you and me wouldn't have been chatting here now. The film wouldn't have probably seen the light of the day, even now. I genuinely believe people like AdLabs, Ram Gopal Verma, and the weight that they carry within the industry is responsible for the film having released now. There were these very complex issues. I am not the correct person to talk about it because I am not in knowledge of it. I just felt that I had to do my job. My job was not complete till the film hits the theaters. So there was this burden that I was carrying, and I feel like a free man. You know, I feel like my job is done. I could take off now.
I read one of your interviews in 2009, and you said that I'll never work with Ramu once again. And whatever happened, you were told that immediately after Ram Gopal Verma Ki Aag, the film will be releasing, and then after that you were told recently that after the film and the entire multiplex strike ends, the film will release after that. It did not. You're saying something different now. I said whatever.
Yeah.
Primarily the fact that your film is releasing, is that your satisfying factor right now? Or
I'm saying I'm not satisfied. My satisfaction rests in something else. It's just that I undertaken a project, and it was lying in limbo. It was very important for me to have it see the light of day. So that has happened. As far as the campaign goes, a lot is being made of it. I don't know. We don't need to look at it in that light. It was a moment where it happened, and we've left it at that. And both RGV and me are looking at very interesting things which might follow. So it doesn't matter because
you guys can work together. in the future?
You never know. You never know.
Okay, and you worked in Bhoot and
Yeah,
Sarkar
sure.
earlier.
Yeah.
And now this is Shabri is going on.
Yeah.
Okay, talking about Shabri,
Yeah.
interesting project. The promos, it has a very granular feel to it,
Sure.
a bit of grey, and
Yeah.
I think the color is deliberate as
Yeah.
well. It's about a female Dawn who's
Sure.
primarily is played by Isha Kopikar, and
Sure.
there were a lot of other interesting characters like Pradeep Rawat and I think Zakir Hussain and
Sure.
Raj Arjun.
Yeah. Manish Wadhwa.
Manish Wadhwa as well. How is it different from the other Dawn films that we've seen? Obviously, it's a female Dawn.
Yeah.
But apart from that, what is the difference factor?
Shabri is a very personal film. Personal not only for the writer-director, but for all the actors, technicians involved in it. We've shot in places which are real. There are no sets on the films.
Right.
People have found something very personal in the film, whether it's Shabri, Isha Kopikar, or any other roles. Technicians have found something very personal in the film. So somewhere down the line, the film became alive. It became a collective experience.
Sure.
I've had people suddenly starting crying on the sets when a scene is being shot, a shot is being canned. There was this a lady who's playing Shabri's mother, and she broke down when a scene required her to break down, and I could see the reactions around. I could see a person like Pradeep Rawat, a very gifted actor, who's known. He's Gajni actually, who's known for his hard-hitting roles, and he refused glycerin on the sets, and he shed a tear, because it touched a chord within. The material was such. The material started taking over us, and you can see that in the finished product. It was just that I felt the material was telling me a few things, and I was maneuvering it. It's not that I knew completely what I was doing.
Sure.
I was not directing the film. The film was getting directed through me.
Quite filmy, man. Quite filmy.
ऐसी औरत कुछ भी कर सकती है।
शबरी क्या चाहिए?
Obviously, you have a certain inclination towards certain brand of cinema.
Sure.
If you talk about Bhoot and a Sarkar, you've also done a Swades, one of the writers on Swades, which is I think totally different genre itself. But still, Shabri, the title Shabri, whose idea was the title Shabri? Because Shabri, it's synonymous with the mythology, Indian mythology.
Sure,
in fact.
sure.
So does it have any connotations from there? Anyhow whatsoever?
See, the thought was it started with an idea, an anecdote actually, which was narrated by RGV to me. It was about a woman with a gangster and the way she was manipulating the situation around a very intense kind of a moment towards the killing of a gangster. The thought started from there, and we decided to write a story about it. When the story was done, I had written the story, and the title had to be given to it. So it became a personal journey, as I said. I decided to put her in a chawl. And when she was put in a chawl, it looked like she was the sole breadwinner of her family within that structure.
Right.
So here was this woman in a man's world. She works in an atta chakki, and it's a very tough job that she's doing. And she's more or less facing the burden of the world. That is doing things to her, and she's not letting those things pass on to her family. So the thought was Shabri's thought, Shabri from mythology, who would taste the fruit, keep the sourness to herself and pass on the sweetness to Lord Ram, which in this context I felt was her family.
You being a Maharashtrian yourself, I believe there are elements of Maharashtrian milieu in the film as well.
Yeah.
I think even Isha is a Maharashtrian as well.
Yeah. But that has got nothing to do with us being Maharashtrians. The film is set here in Mumbai,
Right.
in the slums, and we were looking at a Maharashtrian family. It just so happened that she's a Maharashtrian, not because of me coming from that background. I was very keen to have to explore Muslim sensibilities and the way I've seen my Muslim friends. I wanted to convey that dignity, through the film. Because I've always observed and felt their customs being very dignified. I've used azan. I've used quite a few things. So it's a mix. Also, this person Rajdar Bhau, I've seen a real life Rajdar Bhau. There are quite a few real life people I've seen from a town called Dhulia, which I've figured in the film also. He's a North Indian. So there's a fair mix.
Tell us something about your technical team, and because I think your camera work looks very interesting.
Yeah.
If you can tell us about the camera work, the editor, and other technicalities
Sure.
you'd like to just mention.
Amit Roy has shot the film. Amit Roy has shot Sarkar Raj, Ram Gopal Varma Ki Aag, and Dam Maro Dam Now. Amit is superbly refined technician. What he does also is he gets his technical knowledge into the storytelling factor and understands what is required of a scene. He's super fast. I am a very impatient director because it is important for me to observe actors, and the moment actors are in character, there's no greater creative force for me as a director. Other technicians do take a lot of time to light up. Amit was quick fire. So most of the scenes that were shot were almost shot with the intensity and the speed of a bullet being fired. It was almost like a few shots being fired, not a few shots being taken. And that's the credit goes to Amit, because he wouldn't let the intensity of the actors drop down, because there are so many times an actor would give a shot, then we'll wait for an angle to change. And generally it happens that you take a couple of hours for lighting. Amit would be ready in a couple of minutes.
Your editor?
My editor is Avinash Valzade. He's a friend, and we worked on several projects together, corporate films and other projects. And I have a tuning with Avinash, and I've seen that he's gifted and he's cut films with a lot of passion. I wanted that to be reflected in the film. I wanted his personal take on the film more than the technical take, and you can see that happen here.
Okay, sound design?
Sound design is another crucial factor I felt in the film. Alok Dey has contributed hugely as a sound engineer. We began with Kunal Sharma, and he was so passionate and has been so passionate about the film that he actually picked up a recorder and started recording sounds all by himself. And he's gone through slums, he's traveled, and he's picked up those sounds, painstakingly created everything. Sadly for us, with the delay in the film, those sounds and the material was slightly lost, and we had to create most of it again. And then Bhuta Singh came into the picture, and then this is the final take that you see.
But how did you create the sound once again? Because it was shot, I think.
No, when you have 3 or 4 studios where your stuff is stored and then taken away, and tend to lose most of it. So if certain sounds were lost, for instance, the Basti sounds were lost, we would probably have to create it. The Foley, a certain part of the Foley was lost. Talking about footsteps and glasses being kept and stuff like that.
You actually captured real sounds?
Yeah, we have.
It's not created in a studio
no.
through music instruments?
No.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, Kunal Sharma.
Generally it happens that was only.
Kunal Sharma is behind all this. So that happened, and I'm thinking the dubbing was done in any case. One of the interesting things about the dub was to recreate the intensity and the honesty felt by actors on the shoot. And I was very seriously exploring sync sound, but it couldn't happen because we were shooting on real locations. But
in future you'll explore that? Sync sound?
I will. I will. So RGV, when he saw the dub, he said it's a fantastic dub. It looks like sync sound, because the actors were so much in character, even after a few months. So that worked.
This is the novel that you've written. I feel like a dog who will have his Friday.
Actually, A Dog's Friday is the name of the novel, and the sentiment is I feel like a dog.
A Dog's Friday.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Tell us something about your novel, and when is it coming out?
One of the bucket lists that I had, I wanted to write and direct a film. I also wanted to write a novel, get it published. When my film got stuck, I started penning down my thoughts. The thoughts came thick and fast, and I felt very strongly about them. Hence began a journey of a filmmaker who's wanting to tell a story, and the things and the experiences that he has. I felt a variety of emotions through the entire journey of this, at the end of which I felt enriched, because come what may, it's all worth it. When you see the light of, when your film sees the light of the day, that's the biggest moment of your life as a technician.
Are there some hard-hitting facts and truths and controversial stuff that
you need to read it.
You've directed this series called Raju Bain on Sony TV presented by Anurag Kashyap.
Yeah.
Now, Is it basically an extension of the fact that you've earlier done a film like Shabri, which is on a female Don? Because even Raju Ben, I believe, got something to do with that.
In fact, I got the job as a director when Shivendra Singh Dungarpur, the producer of Raju Ben, saw certain portions of Shabri, and he said, "You're the right guy to direct this series." And when Shivi was looking at those rushes, and I was thinking I had nothing to show to RGV. Because generally you don't land jobs until and unless you show something. I had no show reel. I had just myself to show. So I got Shabri without showing anything, but I got Raju Ben when I showed Shabri to people.
Now Shabri is coming up on 26th August. What are the number of prints that you're coming out with?
I am not yet very sure about the technicalities. It's still being worked out.
Approximately, any idea?
I think 100 at least, and we are going digital.
Digital as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And apart from that, any overseas territories you're trying to cash in?
We're looking at a phased release, and it's the decision of the company, wherein they feel that it's better for the film to open up here in Bombay and Maharashtra, and then open up in the rest of the country and the rest of the world.
What about online release of your film? Does that aspect attract you? Because
it does
anyways, what happens is the moment a movie is out, it will be uploaded on illegally.
Yeah.
So why not just release it online and ask people to pay for it and get it legally?
In fact, a friend of mine who handles online releases has given me technical details of the same. I'm very keenly looking into it.
But it will happen only after the release.
Yeah, it will have to happen only after the release.
Fantastic. What are your future plans after this?
Loads.
Tell us something.
I'm just taking a deep breath now. I'm looking at a lot of interesting television work immediately, because as in the West, I feel most fine creative talent is heading towards television, which gives you a lot of freedom. It actually gives you a lot of time also to do your thing your way. So television is certainly on the cards in a big way.
Like serials or what exactly? Shows?
I'm talking about mini-series.
Mini-series?
Yeah.
That is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
That is, and by when can you possibly see that happening? Any idea?
It should be early next year.
Early next year. Any movies coming up?
I've written quite a few films, and I feel very strongly about them. What keeps me away from the entire process is the waiting time. So if something falls in place soon enough, then I might, because the technology is such now. I could shoot it digitally. I could shoot a film over the weekend actually.
Yeah, with all the small cameras, what RGV has done is not a love story.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Finally, if you can tell us something about what's so special about Shabri that people should be looking forward to watching this 26th August.
Shabri, I think, is a story about a woman.
The uniqueness that you feel.
Shabri is about a woman who says, enough is enough. I need to just draw a line, live my life my way. So here are lots of women who can find a reflection of Shabri in themselves.
And do you at times feel that Isha Kopikar, I think what people say is one of her best performances ever, even she missed out 5 years, she's been waiting for it as well?
Yeah, sure, of course she has.
We all have. In your point of view, how is her performance?
Outstanding. I can only think of one performance down the years ever since we've started making films, and that is Nargis ji in Mother India.
You compare with that?
Yeah, certainly. That was the guiding light.
ये देखो राजर भाव को मारने का है।
दर्द होता है तुम्हारा दर्द देखकर।
मैं यहाँ भाषण सुनने के लिए नहीं आई।
Fantastic. That is Lalit Marathe, the director of Shabri, which is a long-awaited film releasing finally on 26th August. He has spoken about what all happened, why the film was delayed, and what are his future plans. He has also spoken about the various technical aspects of the film and his technical team as well. He's also writing a novel, which should be, he's just looking forward to releasing it sometime soon. This year itself?
It should be towards the end of the year.
Towards the end of the year itself, and what his future plans are. Thank you very much for being on Bollywood Hungama.
Thank you.
Lovely to have you. Nice, enlightening kind of discussion with you, and we really hope that your film does well at the box office, and hopefully critics will like it, and it will be talked about.
Sure, man.
And looking forward to more work from you in the future.
Thank you very much. Pleasure.
That's all we have from Bollywood Hungama. Keep on watching.